Hello everyone, on today's video we're going to be talking about salvage cars. As some of you know, I've been working on cars for about 25 years. Uh, as I've been getting experience, I've actually decided to go ahead and get a salvage car, and I wanted to see whether building a salvage car was like a good idea or not. So I have experience on what I'm going to be telling you about. This is not something where I've been told. I actually have experience. I have a couple salvage cars, and the reason I'm doing the video is because I had people asking me whether it was a good idea to do have a salvage car, and I'm gonna give you my honest opinion and my honest advice, and as to where you should get a salvage car or not. Ultimately, it's gonna be your decision whether you wanna get yourself into something like this. Um, but that's the reason of the video tonight. And I'd like to take a minute to say thank you to all the people who have subscribed to the channel. We're growing, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you very much for the support. For the ones that are new, please, if you don't know me, my name is Hugo, and I'm the owner of Muscle Car Builder. Please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. We're going to be shooting some videos of all the cars that we have, and thank you so much for the opportunity and thank you for watching our videos. Right into it, we're going to be talking about this car. This is an example of a salvage car that I have. This is a 2013 Camaro CL1. I found that this car in action, and this car was a salvage car. The reason it was salvaged is it was due to theft. They stole this car when it had 5,000 miles on the odometer, and they stole the hood, the engine, and transmission. They also stole the seats, and they broke this window, this quarter window. I believe they did that so they could actually get into the car. But I'm going to do a breakdown just to give you an idea. Basically, when I found this car I bought it in auction for $13,000, and it was missing all the parts that I was discussing before, and I fell in love with the car. I think the CL1s are just beautiful, and I thought it would be really easy to repair it, to find a used engine on a junkyard or something like that, but it wasn't. So I found this car. I paid $13,000 for it. The next thing I did is I had to do is this car was located in Dallas, Texas, so I had to pay about $800 to $1,000 to have it shipped to Houston, and so right there I'm at $14,000 for getting the car into my shop. The next thing, once we actually got the car in, I made phone calls to the junkyards. I was trying to buy the motor and transmission for this car, and actually I got quoted $18,000 to $20,000 for a complete setup, which had the motor and transmission, and I was not happy about that because I had already paid $14,000 to get the car to Houston. So anyway, I did a bunch of calls. I was not happy with the prices, so I actually went ahead and called a dealership, and I was actually able to find the engine brand new with a warranty for about $15,000. So I pulled the trigger on it. You know, it was brand new. I went ahead and buy it. So I spent $15,000 on that. I spent about $3,000 on the transmission. So that put me at $18,000. That was a brand new transmission and a brand new engine for this car. I was very lucky too because I was able to find the seats. Someone bought a CL1 and they wanted to have the Recaro option, so they didn't want to have the original seats, and they came from a CL1. So actually, this was plug and play. These were brand new, and I went ahead and bought them for my car. And I paid $2,000 for the seats, for the front seats. So right there, I have about $20,000 on parts, plus $14,000 that I spent on the car. Of course, that does not include any of the labor. And I was also missing the hood. I bought the hood on the dealership for the actual hood. The metal part of it was about $700, and I also had to buy the carbon fiber insert right here. That part was $300. So the hood itself was probably about $1,000. Be aware that this carbon fiber insert is an aftermarket. It's not the original one, but that right there was another $1,000. I believe with the emblems and the little hardware for it, I believe it was about $1,100. But that gives you an idea that I have 15,000 on the motor, 3,000 in transmission, 2,000 on the seats. That's 20,000. And I had $14,000 for the car. That's 34,000. And I also had $1,000 for the hood. So that puts you right at $35,000. This was before I had the labor and I took all the time to put everything back together. There was a couple other random things. They broke this glass, so I had to buy that glass. Everything I got for this car came from GM. Everything I bought on the dealership. And the funny thing about this, and that you need to keep in mind, is if you're working on a car like this, for my experience, I was actually able to get these parts from the dealer at a better price than a junkyard. And this was just really disappointing for me because I made a bunch of calls to a bunch of people that I knew in junkyards, and they wanted it more money than what I paid on the dealer. So keep that in mind. If you're going to be building a car or rebuilding a car, call your dealer, see what kind of prices they can give you, compare it to a junkyard. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's my personal experience. I have several examples of that. And I'm going to say that for you to take the time and go ahead and make whenever you need a part, something as simple as a battery. I have experiences with that. I go to a regular auto parts, I'm going to say O'Reilly's or AutoZone. They give you a price for a battery, and I call my dealership, and the battery is cheaper from my dealer, and it's the OEM replacement for my car. It makes no sense for me to go to O'Reilly's or AutoZone to buy a part that is more expensive, and when you can get the original part from the dealer. So make the time to make a couple of phone calls and see what's going to be actually better for you. This is my experience. I'm not sure if it's going to work out for everyone. I do have accounts with the dealers, but I believe that it's just a better deal to get it from a dealership. But anyway, so that is my experience with this car. So far, going back into the numbers of this car, we were about $36,000 into this car before doing all the labor to put everything together. Basically, by the time I finished working on it, there's a couple things that I didn't mention, but obviously when they stole the engine, they stole the AC condenser, the radiator, the electric fans, air filter, ECM, BCM, all the engine harness, all of that was missing. The transmission support, motor mounts, all of that was gone. Nothing else was missing, but I did have to spend quite a bit of money into that. But basically, to just let you know, my total amount of money that I spent on this car was about $45,000. It was a salvage car. A lot of people will think that this is not worth doing it, but when I found the car, I decided this car was going to be my car. So I didn't mind the fact that I was paying top dollar for it. And all honestly, if I had a chance of doing it all over again, I wouldn't do it. I spent too much time, too much money. And yes, I have a brand new engine, brand new transmission. However, I paid $45,000 for this car, when if I would have went to a dealer and found me a used CL1, that was probably going to be about the price that I was going to pay for a car with a clean title. So in my experience, even though I did all the work myself, it was not worth it. I will not do it again. I have it. I'm happy with it. I'm proud of my car. I'm very pleased with the performance of this car. But I paid too much for it, and this is just my experience. I wouldn't do it again if I had another chance. I wouldn't do it, not with a car like this. But keep that in mind and learn from my mistake. If you're gonna be buying a car, if it is a high-end car, like this, and don't get me wrong, what I mean by high-end is like this motor comes from Chevy, has 580 horsepower stock. has massive 6-piston Brembo brakes. This car, I mean, it's a really fast car. I love the car, and we're not talking like super high end, but I believe this is one of the. I believe this is a super car for the performance. It's a 2013 model, and I really can't. There's not a whole lot of competition at 2013 for performance cars, and I think this is a super car for that year. I'm not comparing that obviously to newer cars and stuff, but by the 2013, this was just a very fast and powerful car. So anyway, so getting back to the amount of money that I spent on the car, I think it was way too much money that I spent on it. If you're doing anything like this, do your research, put your numbers together, set up a budget, and decide whether it's going to be something you're going to be keeping. The only way that a salvage car makes sense is if you're going to be keeping the car. Because at that point, if you're keeping a car, it's an example like this one. I know that my motor, my transmission, all my wiring, my seats, everything's new on the car. So I'm pretty confident that this is a reliable car, and I'm happy with that. You cannot get that if you buy a used car, because the car might be abused. So by the time you get your hands on it, it may have been exposed to a lot of abuse. Even though he may have a clear title, he probably had a lot of abuse. On this car, I know that everything's good with it, and that gives me peace of mind. And even though I spend a lot of money, for me, it's okay. I mean, I already got myself into it. That's okay. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it anymore. But this is not my only salvage car. But, right now I want to use this car as an example. So, if, like I said before, just learn from my mistake. If you're doing a car like this, do your research, set up your numbers, and if the price of the car and all the parts that you need comes close to what a regular car in a dealership is, I mean, you save yourself the headaches and go ahead and buy it in a dealership. Or, on my case, I mean, I spent all the money up front. I didn't put anything on credit. I just spent the money, and I feel a little silly because I could just walk into a dealer, find me a CL1, and just buy it and just enjoy it. And this was not what I did. I think I made a mistake by spending all this money, and obviously now it's way too late to turn back around. I want to mention that this is a 2013, and I bought the car at 2014. So I did this a few years back. This is not something I done recently, but this is my experience. And as I said, I have all the receipts that I bought all my parts from Chevy. I'm very pleased with all the process of everything I did, because I feel pretty confident about owning a car that, even though it's salvage, this car is in really great shape, and I will not trust any other car, even though it may have a clean title. I will not even compare it to this, because I know what I have on my car. So anyway, if you're going to be doing anything like this, do your research, compare it. I believe that the prices of the salvage cars are so high that I don't think it's worth it, and that's just my experience. I have the wide body Mustang, that's also a salvage. If you have followed the channel, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, please check out some of my other videos. You'll be able to see the car. The car is beautiful. It's a really nice car. But it's the same experience basically that I have. The wide body, I bought it last year. And so the prices are really high. All the parts are extremely expensive. My honest opinion is that buying a salvage car is not the smartest decision. The only way that's justified to buy a salvage car is if you're getting a hell of a price on it, and by the time you repair it, it's going to be a cheap car. So keep that in mind. On my experience, it has not been cheap. The cars are expensive, parts are expensive, labor, all the time you put into it. And honestly, between this Camaro and the Mustang, I spent probably about the same or more money than what the car is worth out of there on the market. Same experience, Yeah, the car might be good, it's reliable, I'm comfortable with the cars because I know that I built it, but it's not a smart thing to do. So my advice is just basically this: if you find a car that is cheap and you can do your numbers, run your numbers, make sure that once you get your parts and all the repairs done to the car, that the car is going to be cheaper, and I mean a lot cheaper than the price that it's out there on the market. Just to make sure you understand, if there's a car you want and the car is $10,000, if you buy it outright, and that's just an example, it's just a number I'm using. If you're going to be driving a salvage, I believe that the cost of the car should be about $6,000, maybe $7,000, still $3,000-$4,000 cheaper than what it should be on the market. That's what I think you should consider. If it is $20,000, of course, it should be probably only about $14,000. The price of the car. You don't want to spend $9,000 on a salvage car when it's worth $10,000 out on the street. So my advice is just do that. Check out your numbers. Make sure the numbers make sense. Check that you're not going to be paying a lot of money, or like basically what I did, where I paid the same amount of money for a car with a clean title. Make sure you don't make the same mistake. Like I said, I work on the cars. I know what I'm telling you. I have experience of working and fooling with the cars. I've gotten a few cars from the auction, and not every car has been expensive, but the nicer convertibles that I have been, they're salvage. So I had experience of that. I'm telling you. If you have any comments, any questions about any of these, I'll be happy to respond them to you. Like I said, I'm familiar with the process of getting the salvage. Once you get your salvage car and you get a repair, you have to take it for an inspection. After that, you can actually go ahead and tag it and be able to drive the cars on the road, especially if they don't have a structural damage. It'll be a really easy process to do. But this is my experience with these cars. So if you're going to be doing anything like this, do your numbers, be careful with what you get, do your research. I wish you good luck if you're gonna go ahead and get a salvage car. I don't have anything against a salvage car if I know what happened to it. If even if it has any damage on the structure, if you have friends, or if you have a way of checking and making sure that the car it's still going to be repairable, I think you should go for it if the price is right. If the price is high, just walk away and try to find a car that will be within your price range, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation like mine, where I paid a lot of money for the cars. So that's basically all that I advise that I can give you from salvage cars. Be careful with what you get, and please stay tuned. We're going to be shooting more videos of these cars. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Stay tuned.